Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote. This is the weekly show where we introduce you to creators from all over the world, and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I'm your host, Ryan of And I Quote channel, and our guest on this episode is someone who is returning to And I Quote. This is his sequel. It took him a while. It took him a top minute to come back to our studio, but he is back. He is here to talk about his latest project, which in this case is Avalon. Please welcome of the Avalon comic series, Brandon Starocci is back here on And I Quote. Hello, Brandon. Good to see you, my man. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
Doing well. And I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Brandon. He's appeared in our chat rooms a lot recently and within the last few years. We've been doing this show and some other shows we've been doing here on this channel. So we thank Brandon for his support. Now, if you have any questions for Brandon as we go throughout the course of this specific episode of And I Quote, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. I'm more than happy to take those as they come in respectively. And do not forget, I should say, to like and share this with everyone you know. And if you're joining us live or on a replay, we thank you very much for being with us. With that out of the way, and that kind of business has been concluded. So, Brandon, have you read, outside of the stuff that you're currently working on, have you read any good indie comics lately? And if so, which ones?
So lately, not so much, but the ones that I do really pick up all the time would be Path of the Pale Rider from Lori Calcaterra. You know, Ray's comic with Trey and Sam as well. They have a comic. They actually have a new one that's out currently, and Carissa Grant's comic as well. So those are like the big ones. You know, the big trio there that I read indie wise. You know, I do have other comics and other stuff like that, but those are probably the big three that are notable. Awesome
stuff. And we know a lot of those individuals. They've appeared on different shows here on And I Quote channel, and it seems like, who was it? But a combination of the two, I would say, but more so Carissa. Carissa and Lori don't seem to sleep. They seem to put out comics every 2 minutes. So I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know what's going on back there, whether it's Lori in the state of Texas or Carissa where she is, I believe in, Tennessee, something like that.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
Wherever she is, I'm just thinking to myself, how are these ladies kicking so much tail and taking so much names in the short period of time that they've done it in their careers?
They're definitely somebody to look at and kind of take a blueprint from. Both of them. They do an amazing job in kind of getting their stuff out there. I feel like I always see them. You know, they're always out and about on social media, on shows. They have their own shows. They're always on a show, and they're always kicking their comics around and getting it out there for everybody. So, you know, they're definitely a good blueprint to kind of follow after.
Absolutely. I would definitely agree with that. And feel free to check out their comics and some of their past episodes here on And I Quote and some of the other shows that they've appeared on. They are located in our playlists, located on the channel. You're more than welcome to look through those. But yeah, it's been crazy how they've been doing it. So here's something that's going to sound like a somewhat of a cliched question, but have you seen any good movies lately?
Any new ones?
Could be anything. Could be something from the past. Could be something that's more current. What do you think?
So I'm going through a phase right now with the Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End, kind of, I guess, that trilogy, however that's kind of labeled. I've just watched those. Shaun of the Dead like a week or so ago. I just watched Hot Fuzz yesterday, and The World's End's coming up here soon. Again, I've watched them. You know, I love them. And then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, again, it's probably the 5th time I've ever watched it. So those ones are probably the latest ones that I've kind of really been enjoying and watching as well. But nothing too much new wise. Haven't been able to find time to really get to the theater and all that stuff as well, even though I love going to the theater. But yeah, those are probably the projects right now.
No, I got you. And we're right around the corner is a thing called spooky season, you know, Halloween season. So in the words of our good friend Ghostface, what's your favorite scary movie?
I'm going to have to give it to just the classic one that, you know, I just hold true to me all the time because it was my first one too, is the original Halloween, the 78 Halloween. It's always a go-to. I always end up watching it every single year. And just because, again, it was my first scary movie. And I've told this story before. My dad kind of made me not made me, but my dad had it on and I watched it and it, you know, gave me nightmares for many, many years. But I love that movie. It's a classic to me. But I'll probably have to pick that one.
All right. Nothing wrong with that. I believe a John Carpenter classic.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about the reboot trilogy with Jamie Lee Curtis reprising her role 45, 50 years later?
So, loved the 2018 one, like I guess the first one.
Right, the
And
first
then
iteration.
I liked and enjoyed the second one. I can understand that one was kind of, I guess, corny and like over the top with the some of the actions. One of the critics, I guess, said it was like Michael Wick or Michael. I'm blending the names together. Michael Myers meets John Wick, and it was kind of funny kind of way to kind of do that. But Halloween Kills, I was not too much of a fan of. I have my opinions about that one, but overall, I love the 2018 one. Kills was a fun one to watch, and then Ends was kind of annoying.
Not a great finale, was it? Or
No.
was it a finale? Did they leave the door open because apparently maybe he didn't die after all?
Yeah, who knows? I was not a big fan of the last one there, but
man, they're probably gonna make another one. Who knows?
I maybe, or maybe not, because I heard that they were talking about trying to get something along the lines of doing like a Halloween miniseries on something, but I don't know where that kind of ended or if that's still in talks or whatever. But that would be kind of a cool thing.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, see where it goes. I mean, it's a huge title. It's been around for many years, and we all know how Hollywood loves to reboot stuff. So
yeah, they definitely do.
Another 2 or 3 years, Michael Myers could come back again. Who knows? I have no flipping clue. Sorry, go ahead, buddy.
No, I was just going to agree with you there. It's just funny how they just keep throwing new reboots out there. It's like, just make something original. I know it's hard to do now because it feels as if everything has almost been made before, but there's still plenty of ideas out there to kind of exercise and put out there. But
yeah, there could be successful indie comic to movie or TV series adaptations like Lori Calcaterra's Path of the Pale Rider, or what is it called? Redemption from War of the Chaos Comics and Carissa's series. There's a million possibilities out there for indie comics, not just the big fish, but some of the more creative and underdogs to get their titles out there to a bigger audience, which in this case could be an animated series on Netflix or a live action movie somewhere in a Hollywood studio. I don't know.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, I think that would be the place to look now. If you're in Hollywood, just go into the indie kind of community. Just look for the passion. You'll be able to find it. You'll be able to separate the passion from just people who are just trying to do it, just to do it. But there's a lot of good projects out there. I think you could really make something huge. Like you said, with an animated series or just even a live action kind of thing. There's a lot of fish in the ocean. You know what I mean? So just pick one of them and then kind of roll with it and see what you got. But yeah.
I would completely agree with you. Have you had any recent experiences at conventions or comic book signings for your series? And if so, how have they been?
So I did just get done with the Erie Comic-Con here this last weekend here. It was very good, kind of seeing and chatting with all the locals, because I'm from Erie as well. They help us out. They support us a lot as well. They kind of get Avalon where it is today. Without Erie, we wouldn't be where we're at with issue 6 coming up here. But that's always a fun event. And then I have the Erie Horror Fest coming up this upcoming weekend, not this weekend, but the next weekend. And that's always a fun one as well, because I'm more of a movie guy and I like the creativity of like movies, film, and all that stuff as well. So the Horror Fest is always a fun kind of treat for me to kind of attend with Avalon as well, and kind of get around there, talk with people, and, in the cinema kind of business and all that stuff too. But yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, congrats on that. I hope you have a good time at your next event or so coming up here within the next week or two. So that's great. Fantastic. Erie, Indiana. I feel like there was a TV series called Erie, Indiana, or like a scary type of series about Erie, Indiana. I don't remember. I don't know. For some reason, I'm picturing a mystery series was on Fox Kids. Maybe it was like Erie, Indiana. I don't know. It was like something similar to that. I can't remember. It was... Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank.
I believe you, but I don't know. I wish I could help out.
I wish I could remember the name of the series for you, but I feel like it took place specifically in Erie, Indiana. I don't remember. Someone's gonna have to Google it. Let us know in the channel. Let us know in the chat if it was on Fox Kids, because I remember like it was about this kid and his friend who were like solving these mysteries in this small town or something like that in Indiana. So I'm not really sure if it was specifically Erie, Indiana, or somewhere outside of Erie, Indiana. I'm not sure. Someone's gonna have to Google it in the backstage area for me, because I don't know what I'm doing. But I will say what I am doing is having a great episode thus far of, and I quote, with Brandon Starocci of the Avalon comic series. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you're joining us live or what is known as a replay, we thank you so much for being here with us. With that, and you spoke of this a little bit earlier, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's, what do you call it? Cut right to the chase, as one might say.
Yeah. Sure.
Avalon, what is going on with the series, and what is coming up for it next? What's happening?
Yeah, right now we have an issue 6 campaign going forward on Kickstarter. We're about to wrap up this first season with Avalon. You know, a lot has been kind of told already with the, a lot of it, in telling and understanding these characters in the world, that we're kind of showing the audience that a little bit of how different we are from other zombie stories. And I guess just real quick as well, I'll kind of throw it out there what it is. Avalon is a post-apocalyptic storyline that follows the Castle family through a nightmarish journey. With that being said, we don't follow one's hero journey. It's the whole family rather than just following one individual. We focus on mental health and physical health issues that people deal with on a day-to-day basis. And that's going to be intertwined with the story moving forward a lot more than you're used to seeing with other zombie stories. I'm a huge zombie fan. It's one of those things that I always kind of try to look for in zombie stories. Most times people throw it in there and it kind of gets faded away in the background. So we in Avalon, we really kind of articulate on it as much as possible. But yeah, issue 6 here, wrapping up season 1, getting ready for season 2.
Rock on, rock on. Cue the end credits from Supernatural here with the hard rock guitar. I'm sorry. I've seen a few seasons of the show, so I'm kind of being drawn back to that for just a moment there. But no, great. This sounds like a really good premise, really good series, and congratulations to you and your creative team on putting it together. You're about to finish up, like you said, the first part of it. Now you're going to get into season 2. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. So with issue 6, is there going to be a trade paperback coming out at some point?
So yeah, we decided to kind of put that on pause instead of kind of combining it with this Kickstarter so far, because Demetrius is adamant about doing a remastered version of issue 1 because he's kind of grown and come into his own kind of art style right now. So he wants to do a remaster of issue 1. And with that remastered of issue 1, we're going to be doing the trade paperback volume with some other variant covers as well and some bonus materials. So all that kind of good stuff will be in that trade paperback coming up. Probably springtime is what we're looking at right now, realistically.
Springtime of 2025.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Sounds like a wonderful idea. Take your time, make sure the story's right, make sure the panels are right, the colors, everything. Yeah. And you said it yourself, it's like a remastered version. So you want to update some stuff, shake some things up, and make it proper and really good for the audience to read. So I respect that. Yeah,
and Demetrius being very precise kind of artist and all that stuff too. He wants it a certain way, and like I said, he's kind of remastered it himself with his art style, and it gives us an opportunity to really solidify our issue 1 and really make it like a complete classic and hit on some of the things that maybe we weren't really thinking on back when we were making issue 1. Not the story itself is going to be the same. Obviously, it's just going to be the art, the panel layouts. And again, probably more Easter eggs. I'm a big Easter egg person. We already have Easter eggs in issue 1. We have Easter eggs throughout the series so far. And some symbolism kind of deals as well to kind of figure out things, and we foreshadow what's coming in the future. So a lot of those things might even be added into the background. So it gives it a good reread value.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's fantastic stuff. Now, this may sound like one of those questions you were posed when you were much younger, but where do you see this series of Avalon in the next 5 years?
Just keep grinding with it, basically. I mean, I don't know exactly where we're going to be at. We're just going to keep moving. I've told people many, many times that Avalon will always come out as long as we have a good story in mind. We have a lot of arcs planned ahead of us, but it's really based on the people on how fast it gets out. I've said it before, like with the Kickstarters and everybody who supported us in the past and right now as well. Thank you very much, because without that support and love and like and sharing and pledging, we wouldn't be on issue 6 right now. Although, again, like I said, Avalon will always come out. It's my baby. I always want to kind of do it and put towards it. It's just if we didn't have the support we had, it wouldn't be out as frequent as it is right now.
Mm-hmm. Understandably so. And wish you the best with that road. That's going to be twisting, winding, and turning with the characters as well as the creators working tirelessly behind the scenes of this Avalon comic series. Now, based on what we discussed the first time you were here to where we are now, because it's been a long time since you and I have shared a studio together here talking about your series and everything going on in the indie comic world. Do you feel like there's been a significant growth in the indie comic community, whether they appear with their campaigns on Kickstarter or they make physical appearances at conventions?
Yeah, I think indie community, just based off of shows I've been on and people I've been chatting with inside of the indie community right now as well, I feel like there's a lot more respect on the indie kind of community right now, and having people kind of really put their passion projects in here. And again, that word goes a long way in the indie community, passion. I feel like that's what, the big comic places like Marvel, DC, and all that stuff as well, they're missing that passion. They're just kind of rewriting things and doing things and just putting whatever they want in there. But at least with the indie community, these are, I could speak for probably everyone. These are everybody's babies that they're putting out there, and they're putting hard work. They're putting, the time in, they're putting the money in, and again, the keyword passion into it. And, speaking of all that as well, I can relate that to myself. And with Avalon, there's a lot of passion. There's a lot of me in it. There's a lot of things that I've experienced and all that stuff putting into this thing. And it just, the love and all that stuff for storytelling in the indie community, I think it's definitely grown over the years I've been kind of in this kind of community.
Excellent. Do you think more, how do I put this? Do you think more local comic shops and more perhaps even local libraries should incorporate more indie comics in their comic book racks? Because I feel like when I go into my LCS, it's always the same Marvel, DC, Vertigo titles. I don't really see too many, hardly, if any, indie comic book titles. Do you think there's going to be a bit of a change in the changing of the guard in regards to that? Or you think LCSs are just going to keep carrying Marvel and DC, and maybe they'll throw in an indie comic here and there, but nothing really big, if you know what I mean?
Unfortunately, I think that's probably the route, the second part you were saying. I've had experience, some good experiences with some comic shops as well. They're always kind of very open arms to having Avalon in there. Our local one is very open. I've been to one that's like an hour or so away. That's very open in Ohio. We're down in North Carolina, so we're down. We try to like expand it more and more. But I do notice though sometimes as people are like, oh, I don't know if it's going to sell and all that stuff, which is understandable. And this is, as a creator, just an independent person itself, I understand that going into it. So when I talk to owners, I'm like, okay, let me show you what the work is. Let me tell you a little bit about it. If you think you have some comic people that are willing to buy that stuff or into this genre, and you looking at the art and, I'll let you read it as well to see if it's something that you could be interested in selling, sell it. You know what I mean? And I understand, not wanting to have stuff on your shelves that people are just going to sit there and collect dust. I understand that. But that also goes on the buyer as well, coming into the stores. Are they actually interested when they see an independent comic section? Are they actually going to generate towards that or not? So that goes to just the people buying comics and also the store owners themselves as well. So it's just being a little bit more open to it. But unfortunately, I think the second thing you said, where it's just going to be most of the big titles and then here and there some independent comic books whenever they say yes or whenever one comes their way.
I see. Well, thank you for sharing those thoughts with us, because I've been curious about this for the last few years. Now that I've had a chance to meet a lot of you who are indie comic book creators, indie comic book writers, independent comic book artists and inkers and letterers and all this stuff, and the things that people go through to get these comics out, and just the behind the scenes stuff that happens. I mean, it does take a village. It takes an entire team to put out these indie comics. And what I'm seeing with regards to the artistry and the creativity is just in phenomenal stuff. So from everybody that I've had the chance to sit down and speak with. So I hope some other people out there may feel the same way. And hopefully you who are watching or listening to this right now have gotten something out of these episodes that we've had here on this channel. And you can always go back into our playlist and watch some of these past interviews with some of the best indie comic creators, writers, and letterers and inkers in the business. So definitely check that out for sure. But here's another question. This is something I just thought of. Do you ever think there's going to be a situation that comes up where someone wants to put together a comic book shop, but they specifically really only want to carry indie titles in that shop? Maybe it's a small one to start out with and see where it grows. Because comic book shops have been around for many, many years. But I am curious. Do you ever think there's going to be a time where someone just takes a chance, takes a leap of faith, and says, "Hey, I'm going to open up a comic shop, but I want to carry the indie artist titles here in my area where they may be living, but I also want to carry other indie comic titles from other parts of the country"? Does that, if that makes sense? So how do you feel about that? Do you think that's something that could happen somewhere down the line?
It's something I wish or hope would happen, but unfortunately, I don't think that's possible yet. I think it takes more time with the indie community to kind of really prove that there's some really, really good projects out there for people who read comics. Something that I do think could happen, and this is something that I'm attempting, I guess, because we have a 1282 production thing that is we're uplifting with Avalon. With that production, we want to kind of have like a, break it down a little bit for a publisher as well. We would like to publish independent comic creators and stuff that we enjoy as well, kind of put it things that we think are going to work and all that stuff. And with that same idea that I was mentioning as well, like having comic shops read, look, and see what the story is, see what the art is, see if it's something that we would be interested in kind of sharing and putting on a website as well, and being a publisher and help that independent creator with financing, printing and all that stuff, and distribution and all that as well. And I think that's the first steps. And I know there's publishers out there who do that already. And I know that works. You get a base, you get people's respect and a following behind that publisher. Like, okay, I trust the comics that you're putting on your webpage or whatever it is. And we're going to kind of support those comics that are on there. So I think that's the first step. And once comic readers start to, again, appreciate and understand that, okay, some of these independent comic creators and titles out there are really, really good, is when that next step that you're talking about, I think, kind of follows it, maybe after.
All right, I got it. Guys. So obviously, nothing happens overnight, but if you take the time, research, do the building, do the legwork, all that kind of stuff, someone could come in and pull a Nick Fury on you and be like, "I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative."
Yeah,
it's like, you know what I mean? They could come into your house in the middle of the night. It's 2 a.m. You're coming downstairs to get a glass of water, and all of a sudden, there's this guy in the back corner with an eye patch and a black trench coat. Right? You remember that scene?
Yep.
He just walks over. He's like, "You think you're the only indie comic book creator in the world? You become much of a part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet."
Yeah, and I think that's exactly how it needs to start. And if it doesn't start that way, I don't see it working.
Wow, look at Brandon's planting his flag, guys. He's putting something in the ground and saying, if this is not how this thing is going to start, then why am I even here?
Right. And I think that's what it's going to be. I need to start breaking into people's houses and drinking milk and in the middle of the night and
just
hitting him with that quote.
Yeah, hit him with that quote and make sure you wear a black trench coat.
Yeah, look creepy
like Nick Fury was. Yeah, just throwing that out there as a for instance if someone wants to pull that idea. So like one of those things. But going back to the series known as Avalon, just out of curiosity, would you like to see this adapted into a live action or animated series? And if so, who would you cast?
Oh, 100%. It's funny because that was the original idea when before it was actually called Avalon and all that stuff too. That was the original idea, was to kind of make it a movie or show or whatever it is. But again, I didn't know what I was doing at that time. And then after, years go by, meet Alan, and not to say it's simple, but the simplest thing that we could have done was the comic thing. And the thing that appeased us the most was the comic thing, because the visual media, you could see it and all that stuff as well. So the comic was the direction first. And then obviously if Avalon gets that traction that we think it deserves at this point, live action would be definitely a direction as well. And for the casting, it's hard to say who we would exactly cast, because I'm a big fan of having people who aren't really like on that level of like, okay, I know who this person is. I would rather have people who people don't recognize play these characters, and then have them be recognized for playing these characters, if that makes sense. So it's like, you don't know, I'm trying to think of like a random, like Tom Holland, like, okay, Tom Holland already. I'm not going to have him play Andy. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather have somebody that's like, you don't know who they are, and you're like, okay, this looks good. You know what I mean? And then that person for playing Andy, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You want unknown actors.
Yes.
People that don't have a very long resume or hardly have one at all, but they're just trying to break into the business.
Yes, and I think that would be it. It would definitely take a good producer or production team
and a casting director
and a casting director, and trying to figure out who can fit for these exact roles. But that would definitely be the route, instead of really picking some big name actors. I would rather have smaller names and kind of work with that. That seems more fun to me and more appeasing to myself. But
okay, all right. So no love for Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, to play one of these badass roles.
So the funny thing is like
the guy on the top left here,
that or he would play, if anything at all, because this would be the only big name actor. The dad in Avalon with the big mustache. It would either be played by Thomas Jane.
Oh yeah, the Punisher. Yeah.
Yep, or Jeffrey Dean Morgan, or
Negan.
I can't remember. Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. The guy who played Two-Face in The Dark Knight.
Oh, Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah, or him. Those would be the three big actors, I guess, that I would have in this series play the dad.
Oh, okay.
In Avalon. But other than that, I wanted to kind of all be just unknowns. Yeah.
Unknown actors and actresses, of course.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I just thought I'd play, a little bit of a fantasy baseball type. Like, who would you draft? Who would you put in your squad? What's the deal?
Yeah, no, I get it. It's definitely entertained, and I have like a Google Doc somewhere. Otherwise, I'd be able to pull it up real quick of potential people like that I would like to see play it as well. But like, it would take me minutes to even find it. It wouldn't be worth it.
It's all right, man. It's all good. Don't worry about it. No fear here, folks. Goodness gracious. Well, it's been really good discussing Avalon, but I didn't want to let you know, and the person who may be watching or listening to this, first things first, don't forget to support your local comic shops out there. That's number one. And number two, this episode is presented by our good friends at Poddex. Now, Poddex are the hottest tool for podcasters looking to have more have more meaningful conversations, or gamify their podcasts. Simply shuffle up the cards. You ask a question, you let that content roll. So you can get yours today at poddex.com. Feel free to use the promo code Ryan10. That's RYAN10. Ryan10, more specifically for 10% off your order. So Poddex wants to know, what do you value most in your friends, Brandon?
Support, dedication, and just being there in general, the love and all that stuff. A lot of that even, I take from my friendship and all that stuff, and just being there for one another. I put into Avalon as well. It's just, I have a lot of good family and friends that I kind of surround myself with as well, but that's really it. It's just that love and support and just being there for one another is basically it.
Ah, gotcha. Well, with all due respect, it's good stuff. You have $100K. You have to donate or create a charity. What do you do with $100,000?
I have to donate or what?
Or create a charity.
Probably for epilepsy kind of foundation, and kind of putting some money into that and some research about that and trying to figure out more about it, because family members have it, kind of dealing with that kind of stuff as well. Trying and after not really fully understanding it until that moment, there's a lot of different epilepsies out there, but that would probably be the biggest one though, as well, is really putting towards that like an epilepsy foundation and trying to figure out more research and helping kids out and people out in general dealing with it.
Oh, well, there you go. Well said, sir. Well said. Which band or artist, dead or alive, would play at your funeral?
I'm going to be corny here, but at that moment, at Alan Dingfelder's old band, when he was in a band years ago. So I'm gonna keep it home and true, personal.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Who would play you in a movie? Oh boy,
man, you're putting me on the spot there. Was this a question that was asked before?
I don't know. Was it?
I don't remember.
I'm not really sure, because it's been over almost 2 years since the last time you were here on set. But who would play you in a movie, hypothetically?
I'm going to say Boyd Holbrook, because years ago, my aunt told me that he looked like me in Narcos when I used to have that mustache too. So Boyd Holbrook, I'm going to sit there and say him, like a little bit older version of me.
Nice. First time I was introduced to him professionally was in Logan. So
yes. Yeah.
Great character he played too. I wanted to beat the living crap out of him.
Yeah.
But
he did amazing in that, honestly.
Yeah, I had the robotic arm and stuff. He was like half human, half mutant, half cyborg kind of thing. Or maybe he was half mutant because of the arm. No, because I think X-23 tore off his arm, and then he had to get the
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I love him as an actor. I think that was actually the first time I ever knew who he was. I've seen him in other stuff, but I didn't like appreciate him until Logan. And then at that point, I was just like, yeah, I love the stuff he does. He's a good actor. I like him.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah, Logan, and then he showed up in a movie that nobody cared for called The Predator. So, yeah. Wasn't your fault though, Boyd. It wasn't your fault.
No,
it was horrible writing, bad directing. They didn't know what they were doing. They were just kind of messing around with the Predator legacy as it went along. So,
agreed. Again, I think he did good overall. I liked him in it. The story wasn't terrible, but it wasn't. It's like, come on, it's like it's just like, whatever. I don't really care about it. But
and then they obviously left the door wide open for a Predator, which we didn't get a Predator 5 per se, but we did get a Predator sequel called Prey.
Yes.
on Hulu, which you can watch. I still haven't seen it yet. I need to sit my butt down and watch it because that
too.
trailer for Prey looked so good.
Well, and I've talked to a lot of people, and they're all like, "You haven't watched that yet? I guess it's great." And all that. I'm like, "What do you want me to do? I can't put all the time in the world for everything, but I do have to watch that as well." So we're on the same boat there.
Oh, great! We have Hercules. We have something in common here. This is great. All right, we're going to get a little bigger here. If you could send what is known as a message to the entire world, what exactly would you say in the next 30 seconds to them?
If I can give a message, sorry, I cut out a little bit on my thing.
Oh, sorry about that. What I was trying to say was, or excuse me, whoa, Jamie R says, I wonder if Brandon knows who's the hippest, hottest creator repping Erie, Pennsylvania.
Who is it?
Well, it says Jamie R. I don't know who Jamie is, but who the heck knows? I don't know who that is personally. But the question from Poddex was earlier, if you could send a message to the entire world, what would you say in 30 seconds or less?
Just be, caring, just be open, treat everybody with respect, the golden rule kind of thing too. I as much as sometimes it could be hard to do it, I think it's a very easy kind of saying and thing to kind of live your life by, treat people how you would like to be treated. It's such a cliche thing to say or sound like, but I think it goes a long way, treating people with respect and kind of helping people out and giving to, people and all that stuff as well. But yeah.
Got it. I'm sorry, Jamie. I apologize. We'll talk more about it later. But anyway, follow-up question. What is your second favorite John Carpenter movie outside of Halloween?
I was just going to shoot for The Thing, but I think it's going to be...
That's a good one, though.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Big Trouble in Little China. Jack Burton, right?
Yep.
Pork Chop Express, whatever it's called. Yeah, his truck. You remember
that? Oh, that's one of my. I have a huge poster of a movie poster. I was just gonna jump right to The Thing, but like I said, I love Big Trouble in Little China.
Hey man, we're about to do this thing, and if we don't make it by morning, call the president.
Calls the president. Yeah. Like, I love that movie.
What is that all about? Who knows? But anyway, good John Carpenter answer there. For me, I would say the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of John Carpenter is The Thing, because it's one of the best horror movies ever made, and it still holds up 40 plus years later.
Yeah, it does. Again, Kurt Russell, amazing. And just the story, the effects, and all that. Practical effects then as well. Just at the time period, I think it all works. That the movie's great. I love The Thing. Like I said, that was going to be my right off the tongue kind of thing there. But thinking about it for like one split second longer, I do love Big Trouble in Little China. It's a classic to me and has all those like corny little things too. And again, Kurt Russell does amazing in it. Yeah,
he's got a good resume, doesn't he?
Oh, 100%.
He definitely does. The Escape from LA, New York series, whether it's the Big Trouble in Little China, you got John Carpenter's The Thing. You also got the underrated 90s comedy gem Captain Ron.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone's seen. Have you seen Captain Ron?
I don't think so. I've seen scenes from it. I've never seen the whole movie though, but I know
it's so funny, man.
Yeah.
It's so good. That's another movie you got to add to your your to-do list. Definitely check out Captain Ron. It's a lot of fun. For sure. One of the best 90s comedies. For me, anyway, it's one of my favorites that I can go back to and watch a lot. It's kind of like comfort food, I guess, if you want to call it that.
No, I get that. And again, I'm a huge fan of Kurt Russell anyway, so it'd be one of those things where it wouldn't be a question. I would watch it. You know what I mean? Okay. I love it. I love him, and I'm sure I would love the movie as well.
Okay, well then there you go. You got something to add to your to-do list. And another thing that someone who may be watching or listening to this is to add to the to-do list is watching this episode if they haven't done so already. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Brandon of the Avalon comic series for being our guest on this episode of Anti-Quote. His second appearance, by the way. This is his sequel. So feel free to go back and watch his first installment and watch this one too. So thank you so much, Brandon, for being here. Appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to talk about Avalon and what's been going on with your series and all the things that come with it. So if someone wants to know more about you or purchase copies of the comic book series, where can they follow you?
You could follow us on any social media platform right now. We're on all social medias like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all the good stuff. You look up Avalon Comic, you'll be able to find us. Easiest place to kind of find us at would be avaloncomic.com. We have all of our social medias linked there as well. We have about section, art section. You could buy our comics in our website as well, and a contact page as well. If you wanted to kind of reach out to us and ask us anything or talk to us or just let us know how you're doing or whatever. We like talking with everybody and chat with everybody as well. So that would be the place to do it. AvalonComic.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with us, kind sir. And we wish you and your creative team over there the absolute best with this series moving forward as you end what is known as season 1 and going into season number 2, right? So wish you the best, man.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate you giving the time for me to talk about Avalon and all that stuff as well on your show. It's good to come back here on the show and, for the sequel, but thank you again for everything.
Absolutely, yeah, and thanks for commenting and participating in some of our past shows and some of the stuff you're going to be participating in here in the future. So we'll definitely be talking to you here real soon, real shortly. Thank you, sir. Brandon, my name is Ryan of And I Quote Channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, rather personally, at RyanRPM5. Follow us across all forms of social media, simply at And I Quote Channel. Links to where you can follow Brandon as well as myself are going to be located in the description of this video. So make sure you check out those links there and support us to the best of your ability. Also, we are very close to reaching 5,000 subscribers. Once we do, we'll go through a great big live stream celebration that's going to have returning favorites, special guests, and some special giveaways that you, our incredible viewers / subscribers, are going to be eligible to win. Who knows? Maybe Brandon of the Avalon comic series will stop by, see how we're doing, and maybe tell us a story. Maybe tell us a scary story. Maybe we'll sit around the campfire, having s'mores and telling each other scary stories like they did on that TV series called Are You Afraid of the Dark? Anybody remember that? I do. Maybe Brandon does. I don't know. Maybe he's too young. But you can always go back on YouTube and watch those episodes. I'm sorry. Also, we got merch. We got shirts. We got hoodies. We got stickers. We got coffee mugs, stationery. Everything that you could possibly want is on sale right now. Links are in our social media bio. And I Quote merch is available right here, right now. So definitely check those out. But treat yourself to something nice as the seasons change, or for your friends, neighbors, your coworkers. That sort of deal. So there you go. And once again, And I Quote's going to be on Saturdays, 12 p.m. EST. First Friday of every month, we're going to be doing new episodes of The Meaning of Fandom. We will be back for that next Friday in October. I believe it's October the 4th, I want to say. So stay tuned for that. Going to be a lot of fun. And our theme for that episode of The Meaning of Fandom for October is spooky season. So we're going to talk about some scary, spooky, things that go bump in the night, so to speak. Maybe the Avalon comic series will make an appearance. I don't know. Things that go bump in the night. Rare. But join us for that. And then movie watch along is going to be the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Fridays of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you tune in for that. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified of when our videos go up or they go live. And remember, life is better when supporting indie creators and small businesses. Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Good morning. Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.